Welcome, birds and turds, to the Angry Bird Pod Show. My name is Kyle. I'm one of the two hosts here. The other one is Matt. He's sitting across from me virtually. How you doing, Matt?
Excellent. Outstanding. Ready to pod again. It's my favorite time of the week, or every other week, I suppose.
It's my favorite every other day that we record during the week activity.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's great. It's awesome.
I was going to say the day, but then it might release some mystical, I don't know, glitter from what we do. It's Thursday today. I'll probably get this up on the weekend. I need a couple days, you know?
We traditionally try to go for like a Sunday or Monday release, right? So
yeah, I think that's sort of...
That's the timeline.
I don't think we have really ever decided that was going to be what we were going to do, but that's sort of how it's ended up. And I like habit and consistency. So
yeah.
It feels like it's been a while since we actually spoke, like even like Facebook and whatnot, to me.
Yeah. And it's funny because we like, I mentioned to you, hey, I'm planning a trip to Tommy Thompson maybe. And you're like, oh, you know what? I might be interested. Mm-hmm. And then we went and then we never actually met up.
I didn't even see you. And like, I didn't try, like neither of us were like, yo, where are you? We were just kind of like, yeah, here's a place. Nothing's happening here. I said we're over here at one point. I think I sent you a little thing.
I knew you had Craig. So like, I was kind of on a mission because like, we'll get into that. But I was kind of on a mission to get something or kind of salvage the day because the morning kind of didn't turn out the way I expected. I knew you had Craig. I was really hoping I could get something for us or like find something unique. Like, guys, there's something over here, and it just didn't really ever pan out. So I tried to salvage something as you guys were probably enjoying yourself. I was enjoying myself as well, but it's not like it was, you know, a negative in my mind. But
I hadn't really been out.
Before we go too far, sorry.
Are we both
I have one
teed up today? Is this the first teed up day?
Oh, yeah. This is the first day we both have one.
That either means it's going to be the worst or best pod ever.
Melissa, my wife, she had the last one yesterday, and I said, is that the last Twisted Tea? And she said, yes, I'll get some tomorrow on my way home. So she came back with like 18 tall boys, and I'm like, let's go.
Let's effing G.
Yeah, let's go.
It's now become a staple, I think. After 11 episodes, I think that's a habit or definitely a set piece at least.
Absolutely.
I didn't do a thing though that we kind of joked about in talking about this podcast, right? I'm not keeping the cans to see like how big the pile will get over time, but I feel like I almost should have, but then I would have 11. I think not 11.
It would be cool if you started to like line them in the window behind you, and it kind of became like a Twisted Tea wall, like in the window.
I did think about that because certain ways I've set up my room, the camera always faces the window. And I was like, I should put little like stuff on the window ledge there for set dressing.
I think we were like 19, 18, and we went to Quebec City, like a whole bus of us. I don't know if anybody, it's called Breakaway Tours.
Okay.
And there was like 5,000 people from kind of like Quebec and Ontario, and they all went to Quebec City for New Year's Eve. And while we were there, we got so wasted and we drank so much beer. The hotel window, which are very large windows, we stacked beer cans the whole thing. And at the time, we were into like kind of like Jackass CKY style videos, so we recorded a lot of it, and we were outside, and you could see this big beer wall across the whole window. So that's why I thought maybe you could do that with your Twisted Teas. That's where the idea had come from.
I knew a guy who was trying to. I don't remember. I don't think he was trying to live extra frugally, because this is probably not the most frugal thing I'm going to say, but he got Little Caesars Hot and Ready's like more than you probably should. Anybody probably should. He had the same thing, but with hot and ready boxes, and not even stacked the tall way, stacked the flat way.
And just him, right?
He had some roommates.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because this was like a good group of people, so like it wasn't just one guy getting alcohol poisoning or something. You know what I mean? Like,
give me enough time, I'll get garlic poisoning from the crazy bread at Little Caesars, but it's not a problem.
My daughter had a fundraiser for gymnastics, and it was Little Caesars, and we bought like 4 crazy bread kits.
Nice.
So we just ran out, but it was it was a nice couple months of crazy bread.
We we watched this YouTube channel. I might have brought it up before. It's called Good Mythical Morning, and they were doing a taste test of different pizza chains like breadsticks, and they were like, anyway. So they compared at one point the Little Caesars crazy bread to Papa John's breadsticks, and so we were like, let's get Papa John's because we haven't got the breadsticks from there before. So I go in, pick up my order. I was on the way home from work. Get to home because we live half an hour away from the closest Papa John's. So we just bring it home, and then occasionally we'll reheat it up in the oven when we get home just to make it hot. And we opened the box of breadsticks, and we had accidentally purchased the like nude breadsticks. They were just breadsticks. There was nothing else done to them. Where a crazy bread obviously has like the garlic and oil and cheese and stuff on it. And we were like, oh, crap. Like, that's kind of what we wanted. So then we just popped them in the freezer. We're like, we'll use these at some point. And I think it was last weekend we were having pasta and we didn't have like garlic bread. And I was like, I bet you we could like melt some butter with some like fried garlic and then just like toss the breadsticks in there. Bro.
They were 100% can.
They were sick. They were so good.
Yeah, of course they were. Of course they were. Yeah.
They're excellent. So
that's awesome.
They're gone now. But it was literally weeks. They were just in my freezer as in like naked breadsticks. I was like, what the shit are we going to do with these? But
add it to more carbohydrates with a pasta meal.
Oh, the double carb is like my freaking claim to fame.
Go-to.
Almost. Yeah.
4 or 5 times a week. Yeah.
Potatoes and fries, done. Baked potato and French fries.
Hey, I'm Irish. Potatoes, let's go.
Yes, I'm not Irish, but I appreciate the potato.
Yeah, you look close enough.
I could get away with a little bit of redness in my beard sometimes.
You got a little red in your beard. Yep.
Yeah.
I had more before the gray, but you know.
Yep. It's happening.
Oh, there you go. You got some. We're gonna start getting some videos so people can take
see our gray beards,
mugs. Yeah.
I don't know if people want or need that, but we'll see how the world.
We're giving it to them.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe that's the slogan for the podcast. We'll give it to them. Doesn't matter if they want it or not.
You didn't ask. We'll give it to you.
Don't ask. Don't tell.
Yeah.
Well, enough about pizza and breadsticks and beards. When you had floated the idea of going to TTP, I had initially had sort of plans that weekend, which then got kind of bumped and shifted and moved to actually this weekend. So I was like, I haven't been out for a while, so I probably should. Like I get guilty every once in a while. Like I have these cameras and stuff, and I don't necessarily go out as often as I want to, but I feel like there are occasionally feelings where like I should go, and this is kind of one of them. Like you had said it, and I was like, yeah, I probably should go somewhere, and that's as good a place as any. But like you said, you went with a goal or a thing in mind, and you actually even asked me, they're like, what's your target? And I was like, I don't know, birds. And you had a clear, defined thing you were trying to do. And actually the first thing that Craig and I saw when we got there was a beaver. So the first thing I shot wasn't even a bird. But we stared at it for probably a couple minutes because there was just this dark shadow kind of on the bank. I didn't know what it was. It looked not an object. That's the only way I could kind of, but it was still, like it didn't do much. And
right.
Even we were standing there, Craig pulled out his camera, took a shot and looked at it. He's like, I still don't know. Like it's just a dark circle. And then it moved and we're like, oh, it's something. And then I think by size and kind of where it was, we're like, oh, it's probably a beaver. Then we watched him swim around and we're like, oh, definitely a beaver.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been that close to a beaver before. I really liked it. You later on in the day found him as well.
I did, yeah.
You got better shots than I did because we saw him sitting on the edge of the bank and we were like, okay, I think we can go down past this, around this little corner and kind of get him from the other side, which is sort of better for light and various other things. Mm-hmm. And we went around. He had pulled out this stick, this really tangled mess of stick that was like, audio people aren't gonna be able to see this, but I'm just like hiding behind all my fingers because that was the shots I was getting. Because like he was well lit, but it was right through this like thin bush, and he was just
It's
munching
nice that he
little
was
sticks.
facing the right way for you. Like he didn't turn and give you his ass.
Mm-hmm.
But then the sticks were there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna claim ignorance on this next part of the story. So when we went there, is mostly frozen in certain spots. So I was kind of conscious of not falling in, and I don't want to slip. So kind of shuffling around, and there's like kind of sticks piled up in this spot, and I was like, I think this is like driftwood or something like it. I don't know. And I didn't want to go on the edge because that was water. So I was like trying to stay on the sticks, and I was like laying on them, shooting this beaver. I kept hearing crunching, and I was like, can I hear that beaver from here? Because he was eating. And then he stopped, and I could still hear crunching.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, that's odd. So then I realized the crunching is coming from under me. And then the beaver started swimming, and he just kind of did like these little circles around in front of me on the edge of the ice. And then I'm starting to think I'm laying on top of a pile of sticks near a beaver. I'm sitting on his house, I think. And I think there's the missus or the mister. I didn't look underneath the beaver, but someone was home, I think, under me. I was hearing them have breakfast, I guess, at that point. I think. But then I was like,
well, I've never noticed like a dam there or anything. Like it's just kind of rocks, and it's kind of been man-made, and it's by a bridge, and it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So they make, as far as I know, I'm no beaver expert. You can take that however you want. But
well, I am.
That's good for you. Good for your wife. I can't. You just said her name, and I already forgot. But they have dams, which is it blocks a river, but then they have lodges, which are different. The lodge is their house. A dam is just something else that they build to stop water for whatever reason they decided. So, like, I don't know if it was a different animal underneath there. It could have been a rat. It could have been anything, just chewing on something. But like, eventually he looked upset, and I heard crunching underneath a pile of sticks. So I just kind of did some quick math, and I was like, I'm going to actually leave, because if I was laying on the roof of like someone's house taking pictures of the person who lived in that house, that would be really creepy.
The cops would show up.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to meet a beaver cop. I don't know what they are like, but can't imagine they'd be very friendly.
Right.
But this guy seemed friendly. He didn't slap his tail or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's obviously an obvious clue. I was laying in the same spot as you because I actually had found where the marks were from people.
I was the.
I fully assumed it was you. I didn't hear those sounds. He was still there. This was probably 3 hours after. This was about 10:30. It's about 3 hours after you were there. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hear any crunching. I heard the waves crashing underneath the ice that I was laying on. It's kind of kind of sloshing around, and but I did not hear the missus or mister.
Yeah. And
I heard a lot of people going, look how close he is to that.
Oh, really?
Because kind of what I did is I was on the north side of the channel, and I was capturing 2 long-tailed females.
Oh, that's where those were.
And I'm filming them, and I'm taking photos because they're sitting on the ice. And in the back of the frame in bokeh is beaver bokeh. I see him come out of the water, like in the frame. I'm like, what is that? So I just slightly shift, and then the focus shifts, and boom, there's a beaver there. I didn't even take my eye out of the viewfinder, and I'm like, oh shit. So I took a couple photos. Then I went to the other side of the channel, and then saw where you were laying, and I went, that's where he got it. I assumed it was the beaver pond itself, just off to the left when you're going towards the kind of more owly areas. I didn't realize it was right in that channel because I'd never seen a beaver there.
Me
myself,
neither.
Anyway.
I'm not like I'm there every week or anything, but
no, exactly.
I was really excited when we got there because you and I have had good luck at that spot when there's open ice there. But
that was key. There, like, it was very, like you said, it was 15% of that open water. Yeah. maybe.
it was pretty close,
Yeah.
but also it wasn't like super frozen over everywhere else, and that was the only thing I was open. Because I was hoping stuff would come in, but as we were watching this beaver, like we didn't really see anything come in. Because this was a point where, and I actually did learn this sort of from you the first time we went to TTP, where we got to that spot actually, but a different spot in that spot, if that makes any sense. And you were like, you just lay down, and I was like, what? Like I've heard people do that, and I've started kind of bending down, but you just were like full prone. I was like, all right, I'll follow suit. And then like but you had chosen a better spot. I remember that day because you had that golden eye that was just like dancing around in front of you. And I was shooting a red-breasted merganser female that was still 16 miles away from me.
And the reason I moved down towards it, so I didn't have the pedestrian bridge in the shot. I would rather have the other side of the channel or more out towards the city skyline where it opens up kind of to the lake into that bay. I would rather kind of having that. That's why I kind of moved down that way, because I knew a lot of the shots shooting to the east would have included the really red kind of crappy background of the bridge.
You talked about beaver bokeh, but what if you got a pedestrian falling down on the bridge bokeh? That's like,
that would have been great.
I've seen a few people just eat absolute shit on that bridge.
Well, we could both bad. We could use each other. Like one could be on the bridge just tripping people, and then the other could
the old like pull a string from somewhere hidden.
Yeah. What are friends for? What are shooting partners for?
The one time Craig and I were laying, not this past time, but another time we were there, we were laying where you were when you were shooting that golden eye, like right beside the bridge, and like people were going across, and it was icy, and we heard a guy just slam, and he was a photographer. He had a camera he was holding and a backpack. And he fell straight on his back. It was a
Sony.
I think it was a Nikon, actually, if I remember.
Second choice.
He fell straight on his backpack and immediately made that sound that anyone does when all of the wind just leaves them. Yeah, just. And we kind of looked over.
So bad.
But the impressive part was he still was like bear hugging his camera. He was just like no, like this isn't falling in the water.
When you shoot Nikon, like most of your life savings is in that.
It's in the camera.
So you better protect it. Yeah.
He laid his life on the line for that Nikon.
Of course.
But we Nikon felt shooters. So bad. And we were like, you okay? And he's like, yeah, I think so. Just got no wind. And like eventually kind of moseyed his way off the bridge. We also saw, I don't know if it was that same trip, but we saw a raccoon cross that bridge. And we saw a guy on a bike try to cross it while riding his bike when it was icy, and that didn't work.
That's why there's signs. That's why there's signs. People think it's like, well, just, there's people standing on the bridge, there's people using the bridge, it's multi-use. No, that bitch gets slippery.
Dude.
it's metal. Like
it's metal and it's wet wood. Those are two
and then
of
it
the
has like
those
bumps, like the metal
the
bumps
the float things.
Yeah. Like it's you're kind of asking for it.
Yeah. And every time I go there now, I'm like, I try to make sure I'm holding my camera securely, and I grab the side. I'm going full like elderly in a walker, like just make sure I make it to the other side.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun.
I would say I was about 20 minutes before you guys, ahead of you guys. And when I got there, there were swans just to the left.
Yeah, they were still there.
There was nothing to the right. And I made the decision to walk down and out to the point where you, me, and Shay were laying that one time.
Yep.
And there were an absolute shit ton there. Of course, as I show up, there's much less. So I kind of go, you know what? Nobody's here. It's still low light. I'm going to go lay where the swans were all just kind of, they're laying on ice. But they got out and just kind of moseyed on into the water. And I laid there for about I want to say a half hour. There was a couple white-winged scooters. What do you?
I say scooters. We both know that I don't know.
There's only one. There's only one O, so I think maybe it's Scoter, but I don't know. Goddamn no.
Is there only one O?
Now I'm not 100% sure.
I think there is. Phone. I don't know.
There is.
There might be.
Unless eBird or Autobahn has been lying to me the whole time.
You're right.
Okay.
SCOTER.
It still could be Scooter, but I thought it was Scoter. I don't know. Speaking of treacherous, I'm laying on this thing, and I didn't so much realize that it was an ice shelf because there's like that kind of like beachy peninsula.
Yep.
Sand, yeah. I'm laying on it, and I hear sloshing underneath me, like lots of sloshing. Dude, the ice dropped 2 feet with me laying on it.
Oh, really?
Oh, it dropped, and water went whoosh and rushed. It actually dropped with kind of the weight of me kind of moving around on it, trying to get in position. So, of course, I back off. I'm like, fuck, I ruined this spot. And that's when I realized today is a day to be salvaged in some way.
Yeah. You almost had to employ you shoot cheap things because in case they get broken, I can replace them.
That's why I shoot cheap things, because I'm going to put myself in dumb positions and I'm going to try to push the limits a little bit. But yeah, I was actually surprised that the ice, it didn't go into the water. It just kind of it may have dropped and landed onto the sand, onto that kind of like peninsula.
Yeah.
I feel like I was still on it, but there was like maybe an air pocket with a little bit of water moving underneath it, and that just kind of just dropped a little bit. And I want to say like a 30-foot span.
You're
just
a big
kind
boy.
Like, well, I have been eating a lot of potatoes and carbs.
Yeah, just maybe I should ease up on the double carbs.
And the crust and the crazy bread.
Oh,
like I said, we had like 4 of them, and we have none now. So
yeah, maybe maybe that was your warning to not do that so often.
It was wild. Like, I've been an ice fisherman for years, and I've never really witnessed that, especially alone in blue hour. I was like, holy shit. Okay, that's good. I'm going to back off and let's go see if there's any owls active. There were not any owls active. But yeah, that was kind of like an eye opener for me.
You say that you were a half an hour kind of in front of us, or 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I think almost exactly we did the same thing. So we were at the bridge, hung out with the beaver for a while. Nothing else was there when we were there. There was one, I think it was a goldeneye, kind of on another open patch all by itself, but it was too far.
A little further out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was too far from
that one there.
Kind of anywhere. Yeah. But we looked
just
over.
And...
He was swimming around when we were there.
Okay.
He did dive a bunch. I'm assuming eating or just having a good time. I don't know. But we did look the same direction as you probably did and go, there's a shit ton of birds over there. We should go over there.
So many.
So we did the same thing. We walked around. Were you following like bike. A fat bike, a bicycle tire?
Yep.
Yeah. So
did he pass you on the way in?
Is that, I did see a guy.
It was electric fat bike.
Yeah.
That was him.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Because we followed that track a lot and we were like, this guy went like far. Like he did a good job.
He went out to the ice shelf where I was, though, by where all those birds were. You could see he went right out to that peninsula. Yeah.
But like from where we saw the beaver, we didn't even go back up to the main path. We just followed the outside.
You walking.
Yeah.
Okay.
We walked all the way up from there. And like the bike tracks were there the whole time. And then eventually there was some footprints and we were like, I wonder if this was Matt, because I think you had told us that you were over there.
Yeah, there was nobody. There was just the fat bike tracks when I was there.
Okay,
so that was mine. Yeah.
So we went over to the same spot. I think we were more because it like pinches between like the 2 points. We were to the left of the pinch, if that makes sense, a little bit. Mm-hmm. And
for me, it does. Listeners, not a chance.
No, it's fine.
Local ones, maybe.
We do this for us, not for the listeners, right?
Yeah, the tens of you. No,
the tens of listeners. So we sat there. We laid down for. It felt like probably the same period of time that you were. We had nothing. There was birds out there, like there was buffleheads. Yeah. There was some golden eyes. There were red-breasted mergansers.
Yep.
We had one really curious female mallard, which is like prime subject. Like that's what you want. You want like those close-up mallard shots. She literally
was on the podcast again.
I just got used to it. I just assumed.
Oh, cool.
He was.
Sorry.
But she was like fishing along the shelf of ice, and we were like obviously back from it. So she's like came that close to us, and we were laying like right on the edge. But that was the only thing that came anything close. Like we got some like cool. Well, I don't know if they're cool, but distance kind of small in frame. Scott Keys type of shit.
Oh, so like super soft and stuff?
Real soft, real small in frame. couple things thought about coming closer. But by this point, the sun started to kind of show itself a little more, and like the sky cleared up a little bit, which is kind of fun. But like nothing interesting happened. We just laid on the ice. My thighs and mostly were frozen because I'm laying.
I feel like we were with each other, even though we weren't.
Right,
Because that was 20 minutes early. Yeah,
which is funny. And then, so then we decided to walk to some of the other like peninsulas.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the edges were frozen, and there wasn't really much open in the middle, but there was kind of towards deeper water, there was some openings, and we did find sort of a cluster of stuff. We didn't know at the time necessarily what they were. I don't think it was, I can't remember if it was no, it wasn't the point with all the cormorant crap. I think it was the one after. I think we skipped the cormorant one and then went to the next one.
Right.
And then looking towards the cormorant one, right? So you're on the opposite side.
I think that's like on the other side of like that in what do they call those? It's like encampment B. What do they call those little areas?
Oh,
they all have like a name.
Yeah.
There's like peninsula, but then they call these other things, it starts with an E. When I look at the map, but it's B anyway.
Yeah.
Listeners don't have any idea what I'm talking about.
Well, if
but
for you and I, with the park.
For you and I, it was like the south. You were on the south side of the B.
Sure.
Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was longtails there. There was again red-breasted mergansers. I saw a whole squad of scoters take off. I really wanted them to come back.
Scoters. Nice.
You've changed me.
Nice.
But they're cool. I do like them, but they didn't come anywhere. I don't have a good close nice shot of one. Mm-hmm. I saw one. I saw two in the middle of another park in Waterloo, and we're in like the spring. There was no snow, but there was also no green yet. It was just kind of brown.
Yep.
And there was two
that terrible transition zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's if the people who don't live in North America, or I guess northern North America, that I don't know, anywhere I guess where there's snow, we get that like ugly driveway brown kind of season. Like everything's just brown.
I base the seasons on what I don't like based on how often I have to clean my dog's paws when it comes inside.
That's a good
right
metric.
Now with the snow, no. In the summer with grass, no. But the transition between fall and winter and spring, it's an absolute mud shit show.
Yep.
And it also reflects on your photos because it's not a very pleasant time.
It's clean beans season right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is clean beans
Yeah.
I do like it.
Yeah. And so the scoters didn't come anywhere near us, but when we got there was a shit ton of birds, and they all farted off. There was like a big squadron of longtails. The first time, and I think the second time we were at TTP together, me and you, I shot a ton of longtails. They were everywhere, and they were like close, and they weren't bothered, and they were just like active and doing fun stuff.
A dozen of them all together.
Yeah,
usually.
there's always big pads of them.
Yeah.
And like I thought I was going to get bored of shooting them, but I really enjoyed shooting them, and I still do. Like they're fun ducks. They're a really fun duck.
Yeah.
And
people that say they're ugly just bug me.
I like most ducks. Mallards are just boring because they're everywhere. But like if you think about a mallard, like it's a decent looking thing. Like people have wooden mallards on their freaking dining room tables all the time, or like coffee tables.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we decided was we would the whatever the word is that you were trying to find earlier, I still don't know what it is. There was like a cliff edge, like it didn't nicely taper into the water, but there was like I could sit here and maybe catch ducks coming back in, and we were just like, let's sit here for a little bit and see if ducks came back. And then eventually they swing around, and like a couple ducks will land, and more ducks will come in, and then some fart on the other side of the bay will run up there and scare them all away, and then they'll come back. But one thing we were doing is just kind of wherever we went, we sat for a while, because stuff sort of does come back usually.
Yeah.
Especially ducks when they have limited space to go. I don't know.
There's a depth they want too.
Yep.
If they're diving ducks, they do want a certain depth, so they're gonna have to come in closer to shore to go to those feeding areas.
Yeah, and I don't know if their food prefers an opener water. Like, I don't know. But
I think it's more of a bottom. I think there might be like a transition bottom where like there's maybe
probably
more rocks where the mussels and kind of stuff hang out in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than like mud.
Yeah. So the lay and wait or the sit and wait approach, it worked well.
It does. Bundle up. Bundle up when you're doing that.
Okay. Well, you say bundle up. So here comes a unique feeling I've never experienced before. So we sat here for a while. Eventually I was like, oh, I think this might be a good opportunity for some flight shots, because the ducks were kind of coming towards me. The sun's behind me and the wind was sort of behind me as well. So it was perfect.
Yeah.
So I actually got some real decent, for me, shots of longtails doing like flybys, a couple of goldeneye. Goldeneye came in and did like a surf and then kind of went in the water, which is cool. He was a little far away, so if I don't like the angle I was at for that, but if I crop in, it looks kind of neat because you can see water. But so we sat on snow. Like earlier, like I said, we were laying on snow. My thighs went numb. So we were sitting on snow this time, and my ass froze. But I don't know if you've ever seen an ass. They have more.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they have more edges than most body parts, and the crack of my ass didn't freeze, but the outside did, because it was contacting the snow, but my crack wasn't. So I thought for like a half an hour that I had a wedgie, because I could feel the inside between my cheeks, but the rest of my butt was frozen and numb. So I checked multiple times, did not have a wedgie, but like it was the exact feeling of a wedgie without actually having a wedgie.
It was a pseudo or like a pseudo wedgie or like a placebo wedgie.
A placebo wedgie. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's the name of the podcast. Placebo wedgie.
Oh yeah, boy, we if we're not good at podcasting, we're great at figuring out the names.
We're good at names. Yeah, I'm even gonna write that down. Placebo wedgie.
The AI photo you put a tough one for me this time.
That should be my goal.
I'm gonna have to get a subscription. I'm gonna have to get a subscription for like the R-rated ones, because I don't know if it's gonna even take this prompt.
We need to
continue with your story.
Ducks. Well, that's really the end of that part of the story. It was just like,
oh, okay.
My ass was numb and the middle of it wasn't, and it was the strangest feeling I've had in a while.
Placebo wedgie. That's good. That's good.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
That's not where I thought you were going with that at all. I'm going to be perfectly honest.
That's why I waited for the pod for that one.
I thought it might have been like well, we haven't spoke about this at all. I didn't know what you guys did. I didn't know where you went. I didn't know you were hot on my trail. I didn't know you had a placebo wedgie. I didn't know whatever else you're about to tell me, because we literally didn't meet up or talk. You're just like, we're heading back towards the pedestrian bridge. I'm like, I was just there. I'm heading back kind of towards the car.
Yeah.
I actually had to go meet my wife in Newmarket because we were picking up fish for our new fish tank for the kids. So that's what I was off doing. But beside the point, we have not spoke about this. So that's what I kind of like about the pod is it's that conversation we usually would have via text. And this is way better in my opinion. It is. It's just funny. For you and I, like, you know.
Oh yeah, it's great. Though actually it was fun. One thing that made me happy in a way, which you kind of, it's because you may not have had the best time, but the whole time.
I had a great time.
Oh, good.
Always. No, I really always do. I'm not even joking.
No, it's always a good time. But like, if you don't see what you're going after, like for me anyway, I can get a little disappointed. Which I kind of, maybe is a reason that I didn't aim at anything, because I was like, I can find something. Like there was as soon as I started getting as close as I did that beaver, I was like, today's okay. Like I haven't been that close to a beaver. I watched him do some stuff. He swam in front of me. Today's all right. Got some ducks. Even better.
Yeah.
But the whole time we were walking around finding a new spot or whatever. Craig and I are talking, and we're like, do we want to go look for some owls? And I was like, yeah, we could. I don't necessarily enjoy the slog of wandering around, not aimlessly, but it feels aimlessly sometimes for large periods of time.
Yeah, there's kind of areas, but you're aimlessly kind of walking through them. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's funny about this whole thing is I still don't think that I've been the first one to spot an owl.
Oh, interesting.
Well, in like if I went with you or I went with Craig or Will.
Or if you went by yourself, like
I don't think I've been to
come across one of
TTP
yourself?
by myself. I have gone to Sam Smith by myself.
Oh, okay. Right.
I don't know if I would say I prefer Sam Smith, but I like the size of Sam Smith better.
The size is nice, and also like we should hit up in March.
Mm-hmm.
That spot where we know. We should definitely do that.
Oh, the
driftwood location.
Maybe that was another beaver lodge.
Oh, maybe all the good spots are the beaver lodge.
Like, this fuck keeps just squishing our houses.
They lay off the crazy bread.
Maybe they moved from that spot to TTP, and they're like, this fucker's back.
Yeah, maybe. There are some really nice aspects of Colonel Sam's for sure.
Yeah.
It also, I find it's also a lot more hardier with photographers.
Hardier meaning?
They don't bug you more.
Oh.
They're thicker. They're thick. It's thick with photographers.
All of the thick photographers go to Colonel Sam Smith because you don't have to walk. I mean,
that's not really what I was saying, but there is that aspect.
And I will say, I said I prefer there, so I am amongst the thick photographers.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. No, but it actually is a pretty decent spot.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like about it is I have to like 400 to 401 to 427 forward to the QEW and then backtrack a little bit. Like it's a lot easier of a straight shot for me to just go 404 straight down to the downtown, right to TTP. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more relaxing rather than like fighting all the way down through. And just on the way home, on the way in, it doesn't matter. Like I'm on the road at 4:30 and there's nobody really bothering me. It's just getting out of there after. It's just like, ugh. Wish I was at TTP, but I also didn't walk 22 kilometers. So
we only walked 12 and a bit. So.
Oh wow, yeah, I did more than that. I did 18.
Well, because like I said, we didn't go for owls at all.
You got pseudo or wedgies or whatever it is. So you can't do that walking 18 kilometers. You have to be
you got to stay
freezing
put
your
for
ass
that.
cheeks off.
Literally freezing your ass off. Yeah. That's what I do for birds. I freeze my ass off. But the whole like we decided to not go for owls because I don't know. It turned out to be smart.
Because I went through all the hot spots that we kind of know about and saw a little bit of whitewash, and then in that specific area where I saw the whitewash, I'm like, okay, key in here. I probably did a kilometer where I saw whitewash just to check in every single.
You circled that one
and
tree constantly.
I went up and I went in like 2 or 3 times because I'm like, what you know how easy it is to miss them.
It's like finding a fist in a tree.
And then I had to like swallow my pride and go for my long-ear owl walk because I haven't seen one yet, and went into that area. And I feel confident when I go into the saw-whets. I feel confident when I'm going to look for ducks. But then every time I just think about a long-eared owl, it just sinks into me. It's like, you're not gonna see one. Like, why are you even attempting this?
I should go to that spot that I know that may have them. That isn't
Downsview.
No, not that spot.
Oh, sorry.
I also haven't seen a long-eared owl. I want to. I sort of, maybe I'll put it out here. I made a goal for this year that I want to find an owl on my own. I don't want someone to be like, might be an owl here or this spot's good.
I think we kind of talked about it with Mike last.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we might have
a little bit.
Fine. I've made no progress on my goal for 2025 to find an owl.
It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. It's not bad, you know.
I did see. I've seen a couple more snowies.
More pay periods if you get paid bi-weekly to figure this out.
True.
Half of it, though, they don't have long-eared owls, so you're kind of limited by seasons.
That's true. Yeah.
You got the rest of this winter and maybe early winter next. Yeah.
Yeah, I should set a time to see if I. But the problem is, if I go to that spot that I think, or that I know that there have been them there, and there are them there, that's still not me finding an owl on my own. That's me knowing a spot that I've been alerted to.
What if you're the first one that day to find it? No, it's not good enough.
No, like okay. I want to. So here's a good story. And actually, on the way back from Tom Thompson, I get a text from Will's wife. She's
you really want to air this?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
She's an outdoorsy kind of person. She often is walking around. Both Will and her are in film, so they're younger than me, so they like film everything. So she sends me a video of her, and so the point of the video was she was just making a little TikTok or something, her walking into the woods, pretending to like look around with binoculars and then maybe show some stuff in the later video. I think maybe I'm making this up, but showing stuff that she might have seen later and whatever, or just being like, I'm out in the woods looking for stuff. So she puts her phone down against a tree and like walks back and walks towards it, and then she grabs her binoculars and kind of looks in direction. And I think she said that she heard a crow and then looked a direction. So yeah. So she just like grabs her binoculars and kind of looks this way, right at a barred owl, just like plunked in a tree, just puffed up. And she caught her own reaction to finding her own owl.
Get the raw reaction.
Yeah. So she kind of did one of the like look and then like moves the binoculars and looks again, and then kind of like stares for a while through the binoculars, then walks over to the phone. She's like, I just found an owl. And then holds the phone. She's gonna get
auditions because people are thinking her acting is so well.
Yeah. And
but she didn't realize it was raw.
Zoomed in and showed the owl. She got like like Will has the cameras, obviously she doesn't, but she got one of those pictures where you hold your camera up to your binocular and just kind of get sort of a shot. So I thought it was really neat. It was really cool. No, it definitely did not make me jealous at all.
yeah. She's going out to just make TikToks and finds an owl, and you actually like spend time
walking 12 kilometers or 20.
Put away time to specifically go find one.
Yep. And then I did the shitty thing immediately. I was like, where were you? So I know.
Like, I want to see an owl on my own.
I know.
I mean, if you want to tell me where that one is, I will definitely maybe go see it.
Yeah. I didn't go see it that day. I could have, I guess, in the afternoon because we had pieced out from TTP. But I was like, I don't know why I get like warm feelings when people want to show me like their bird adventures, especially if they're not necessarily a bird person. They're like, I saw this cool bird and I thought of you. 99% of the time, it's like a mourning dove on their porch or like a seagull on a roof. They're just like, check out this nest that's happening. And I'm like, herring gulls are probably the third least interesting bird to me. But I'm excited that you're excited. But when someone's like, I saw my first owl, like randomly, and they caught that raw on tape.
Magical.
On tape.
Yeah.
How old am I?
Yeah.
On binary digits. I don't know. What do you say anymore? But
Is it weird that I didn't like react to you saying on tape? Like it just felt natural to me too.
We're approximately the same age, so most of the references.
I grew up with Daddy Bob Saget showing me funny home videos.
Yeah,
on
dude.
tape. It just felt normal.
Was it a shock to you when like later down the line you realized how like dirty and crazy his comedy was?
Well, I didn't realize that like comedy was dirty. I thought comedy was like cheesy, like because like all the comics were the deal back then was a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, oh, this comic has a show, Tim Allen. It's funny. It's, you know what I mean? It's like that. But you realize like, oh, these guys were like killers before this and like completely. Yeah, I guess there was a documentary. It was like some kind of greasy things that went on set and stuff that he would say, and he would make people kind of uncomfortable because he's raunchy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite shocking to find out. And like the whole Dave Coulier thing and Alanis Morissette and the song about him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know any of this shit.
Yeah. Cause you're just like,
you're people too. Imagine that.
What was it? Danny what was their last name?
Chandler.
Danny Tanner. You just like you're him, and then he's the funniest home video guy, and then you're like, what did he just say on this stand-up routine I've never seen before?
Yeah, apparently he was dirty as all can be, apparently, which is great. That's my type of comedy. I filter it here. Terribly filter it here.
Sometimes.
I filter it less at work, but I filter it.
Yeah, that's bro. Don't even start that this week.
Usually it's just me and my coworker, and like sometimes the press is quiet, and maybe it travels a little more. But I got to catch myself sometimes.
Well, yeah, you kind of work in a shop, so it's like
I work. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah,
I miss shop talk because I've moved from shop to corporate life, and it's. I'm not going to say it's better or worse. It's very different.
You have an HR department.
That's true. Oh, okay, fine.
I am the HR department.
Here's a good story. Are you? Like, actually?
Well, I'm safety supervisor and head pressman, and like, I don't know, like, it's more like govern yourself and try not to say anything rude around somebody that's gonna take it offensive. Like, we have one female, really nice lady. I don't want to be dropping F-bombs around here, but I've certainly been in the lunchroom where she's in the office and I'm totally, going on about stories and being colorful with my language, and then I gotta go, oh crap, like I gotta watch myself. I'm not out in the shop, so
it is here. Okay, so there's a woman at work, and what I do, I didn't do it today. I forgot actually. It's been a week, but usually on Thursdays or Fridays, whenever my last day of the week is, I'll post a bird picture. I started doing it. I don't know why. We have like a website that's kind of keeps all of our stuff in it and for people to look for links to things, but there's also like just like an ongoing chat, like a Facebook wall, but it's only internal. And I just started posting birds there on Fridays just to be like, enjoy the weekend, everybody. Here's a shot I took. People seem to like it. I actually get people reminding me sometimes to be like, I haven't seen a bird picture yet today or something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks.
That's cool. Cool.
It's kind of neat. But she expressed to me that she's scared of birds. Like, she just doesn't like them. This same person was excited to go scuba diving with sharks in Cuba or something. So like, I don't understand that that thought, but fears are weird. I don't get it. Actually, a couple times there's a turkey vultures love our building for some reason. Like in the summer, they just sit all over the building.
And they know that you're there and that you love them so much.
I love them so much. But people are like, they're so ugly. I'm like, yes, they are the ugliest bird ever. But look at them. Like, they're cool. One sat like on the window, like looking at her once, and I terrified her. But she went to somewhere tropical recently, and I was helping her with a problem, and I was like, and just for payment for me helping you, I'm going to send you some bird pictures that you have to look at because I'm trying to fix her problem, her bird fear problem. And she goes, oh, next time I'm in the office, remind me to show you pictures of blue-footed boobies that on my trip. And I was like,
would you go to Mexico or something?
Maybe it was somewhere tropical. I'm not sure.
Somewhere down there. Yeah.
But she's a real person to talk to. Like, she's awesome. And I was like, one of the reasons I like talking to you is because I can say back to you, I love booby pics, and I know that I'm not going to be marched to HR immediately. And she laughed, and she's like, yeah, it's great. It's hilarious. Yeah. But like, that's the kind of talk that is dangerous in an office, but like very tame in a shop floor. And I had to get that transition for me is still to this day difficult. It's 6 or 7 years.
Super tame. If someone showed up and said boobies, I'd be like, what? Who's this guy? Booby? Yeah, like, really? Your mom's not here. You don't have to talk that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Boobs. Here's a funny IT story. One time at my co-op, actually, I went around the corner to some offices, and there was the networking guy, the boss, and another IT coworker, and they were like huddled around the computer, like all trying to block the screen with their bodies, and they were like typing. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And they look up at me like you would if you got caught like in a car doing fooling around and like a cop was knocked on the window. Like that same look, like they're like, and they're like, oh, it's just you. I was like, yeah. They had found out that someone was indulging in activities in videos at work you shouldn't be watching. But we had like security filters to like not allow that. But some way they figured out a way around. somehow. So literally these 3 IT people who are all older than me were Googling like boobies and like all those kind of words to see if like, because they obviously we had words like the harsher normal words that you would put in, but like they thought that maybe they could skirt it with some like shittier like kindergarten words.
Yeah,
it was so funny. But
did it work?
No, I think we just tightened down other ways of doing it.
Yeah,
but it was so funny to see them all huddled around like Googling boobies and like tits.
Sounds like
all
something
bird
like a
words.
scene out of a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like that.
Yeah, bush tits. It's just some girl camps shirtless.
How who is naming birds stuff like that? Like
sometimes they're so clever, and other times you're just like, oh yeah, all right. Like it's so obvious, and other times it's super clever. So
there's a post that's like, birders will just say words like hot-breasted MILF, and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
but it's like, yeah.
Deep down, they're just all like freaks. I bet.
Like the great tit is a bird.
Yeah,
and it's like a common chickadee type bird in England.
Yeah, yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, most of them are
tits. Yeah,
yeah.
Or birds. What are we talking about? Where are we?
Not birds. Yeah, where were we?
I don't know. This is a tangent that we've ridden for quite some time.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, but yeah,
it was a good ride.
Thank you. It was fun. Yeah, it was interesting going to the same location as you and just not ever crossing paths. Like I thought we'd meet up on the path at some point, either on the way in or out. I did too. Crossed over. Too.
Yeah, and then I got like so. I ended up going down like kind of towards the lighthouse, and then walking back towards like where we'd see the bard, or I'd seen the bard before, and then tried to get some long-tailed ducks off that side out into the lake. No bueno. That's when I ended up kind of walking back down the trail, and I actually took the trail that skirts along the main trail. I think it says like do not enter currently at the time. Like, you know, where we were walking back and forth where we saw the bard, you and me and Craig.
Oh, they have like little gates that are always stomped on and squished.
But there's always a massive track through there, and I'm like, well, whatever, I'm going to use it anyway. So instead of walking along the track that I'm just moving out of the way of runners, I figured why not just walk through like the bamboo kind of Canadian bamboo forest and see if I could see anything. I don't know. I like it. It looked really pretty when I was walking in there because it was like poking out of the snow.
It was still green.
It's still really deep green. Yeah. It's really pretty. So I walked through there. I didn't actually see anything. There were what was in there?
Usually see some hairy
white-throated sparrows, stuff like that. Yeah,
you saw some tree sparrows in it nearby.
And tree sparrows. Mm-hmm. Actually, were there tree sparrows when you were walking out towards the point, the first point? When you're following the fat bike trail?
Not there, but a lot on the last one after I froze my ass off.
They're called embayments.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they call them on the map. I looked it up. It was we were an embayment B on Peninsula B.
Yeah.
That's where you were. But that's the word. I would have never come up with that on my own. I would have thought I was saying something wrong.
No, we come up with terms like placebo wedgie or whatever.
Right. Placebo wedgie.
What was it?
So I ended up. It was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay. So I ended up back at the pedestrian bridge, and that's where I ended up seeing the same beaver that you guys did. I didn't see it in the morning. Maybe it was swimming. Maybe it was looking for wood, some sticks and stuff like that, his stash. And that's why I ended up seeing it. And I went, that's where he saw the beaver. Because when I walked past the beaver pond, I only saw muskrats.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit, I guess he's not out. I'll just keep moving on because that's where I'd seen the beaver before. And so I saw him at the pedestrian bridge. And when I got over to him, I started taking some photos with the 800. Typically, I switched I had the 800 on because I was shooting the long-tailed duck. I got the 800. I got down low, took some photos. He went back into the water, grabbed some sticks, came back up. Before he came back up, I moved 50 feet closer. 50 feet closer means I might as well move to the 100, 400. So I switched on to the zoom while he was in the water, came back up, ate some more sticks. He went back again, and I moved up to where you were, which was 20 feet from him, maybe.
I think at the time when I
25?
saw him, he was a little farther than that. But if he was, closer.
Oh yeah, he can't. Yeah, he was much closer to
Yeah.
your mark, 15 to 20 feet. And I'm like, he's coming back. So I just started recording. So I actually have a video of him skirting across the surface of the water, popping up on the ice, pulling with his hands the sticks up on the ice, turning towards me, scooting down, shaking off. The water goes everywhere. And then he just starts hand bombing the sticks and breaking them off. And you can hear him chomping away. And I'm like, this is amazing. I've never been this close to a beaver. So as much as I don't think I salvaged the day, like the beaver, which ironically was kind of what started your day off in a positive way, was the same thing that kind of saved mine mentally, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. It's kind of cool that we both had that experience, but 3 or 4 hours apart.
We had the same day, but like backwards and opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So on the way out, instead of walking the main path all the way out, we did the one that goes up past the like those other internal ponds and goes up towards the north side of I guess it's technically the south side of the island, all the way back around to that like main fork. Yeah. And when we were over there, we were talking. It was there's nothing like when you're walking around the ponds in the summertime. That's kind of where you'll find some stuff that's cool. There'll be like coots and like different kinds of birds over there. I was hoping to maybe see a peregrine ripping around or something like that. Didn't get that, but we did have a nice flyby from the female harrier that lives there. I always like seeing them, but the problem was at this point, sun's pretty high, and it was kind of the wrong direction from where we were walking. So any shot I got of the harrier was just like I'm gonna make a reference, so you probably don't know that, like a who's that Pokemon type of shot. You know if I say that?
Yeah.
So
not a chance.
If you ever watch the Pokemon show, at the end of the Pokemon show, they'll have like a black, like an all black outline of the Pokemon. Yeah. And then before it goes to commercial, it's like, who's that Pokemon? And if you know what they look like, you'll be like, it's Pikachu! And then it's Pikachu or whoever. But it was just like a black bird with like blue sky and some stuff in the background. And I was like, this is nothing. Right. But like we were fairly close to it, which was just cool. I love watching harriers fly around. Like they're just so kind of graceful and swoopy and long, and I like them a lot. Well, I really like harriers.
You might as well just watch them, because like you're probably gonna get a better experience that way than photo.
This one, like we could have got, like we were close, but like the sun angles and stuff were just wrong. So like I would have had to exposure comp the absolute piss out of my camera, and then it would have been white. If you were on the north side of him and he was on the south, then you'd get that. Yep. He was on our right, so he was more that way. Yeah, but it's cool. They're just cool to see, and
I guess fieldcraft doesn't really help you in that situation at all. That's just a random moment. You know what I mean?
I mean, standing on a paved path, just looking to my right. No,
and then it just do it. Like, there's nothing you can really do at that point other than take it for what it is.
Yeah, Craig fired some shots off. I took a couple, but I was like, these are going to be bad. I really would like to get a shot of her or any harrier. We tried last winter. We chased her around a bit, and she was actually sitting on the ground. So a couple of times, like I did try to like pinpoint her from far away, and then try to like sneak up, get low, not snap twigs, not disturb, but they're smarter than me. Yeah, and I wasn't able to do that.
Smarter than most. Yeah,
but then they'll fly past you like real close, and it's like, just do that when I'm ready. Like, why now?
They're like Nelson from Simpsons.
Yeah, ha ha.
As they fly.
No, that was what we were talking about with the male harriers from like weeks ago, where they see you from across the field and just bank the other way. They're just like, peace.
It's brutal. When you like almost drop the transmission out of your car trying to get it in park when it's still moving and get out of the car, you're just like, I'm killing gears in my transmission for what? A photo that ends up being 60 yards away when he was really 8 yards when I stopped. Frustrating. Not frustrating. It's funny. It's actually funny.
I don't know how to do reels or anything like that, but 2 years ago, I think I made like a good one. Do you know the song Pistol Grip Pump by Rage Against the Machine?
I probably do. I do know quite a bit of Rage, but maybe I just don't know the title.
Okay. So the chorus is pistol grip pump on my lap at all times. So I filmed myself slowly driving on a snowy road, and then when he says pistol grip pump on my lap at all times, I turn it and I had my camera like across my lap because I was looking for snowies. Yeah. And like I've made a couple of reels, but that one got like huge traction because I think like I figured out whatever it was that people like about reels, but then I've never attempted to make another one. But
Right.
I don't know.
That was your peak reel.
Yeah, I peaked right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping to work on some fieldcraft type exercises. Maybe when we were there. I find that like ducks and shorebirds are excellent subjects for doing that because you can kind of see where they're going, and they're not always the spookiest birds, and if they'll kind of fly back eventually. So like for me, it'll teach me patience to stay there. It'll teach me patience to kind of analyze a scene first before kind of deciding where to shoot. So I was hoping to kind of get some of that, but it was more of a like kind of move around and figure out where you can find stuff kind of day, which happens.
Do you think if it was just you, I mean, I didn't do this and it was just me, but if it was just you and not Craig, would you maybe hunker down more? Because I mean, the fieldcraft, I would argue that the duck fieldcraft is super high technical skill.
Yep.
If you want mallards or if you want mallards or longtails or common and goldeneye and stuff, like you don't need that much.
You get a hoodie?
But if you get a hoodie at High Park, I mean,
or a wood duck at High Park. That guy doesn't count.
Well, and a wood duck. That's why I kind of agree. Sometimes the hoodies are in there, and they get brave like the wood ducks. So people do get some good shots of them. But that one's like, I still find that one to be like reputable. Like it's still a hoodie.
Yeah. Hooded merganser for people who aren't familiar.
Yeah. Sorry, I figure anybody
Hone. Home.
Most people who are still in here.
Yeah, you would think so.
Maybe, but anyway. But if you're going for like the scoters, or if you're going for teals, if you're going for shovelers, they're tough. And that is all fieldcraft. Like, there's so much that goes into it to make yourself successful. Patience being one of the most. Knowing when to move. A lot of these diving ducks, you'll notice if they're in small groups, they'll dive together. If they're in larger groups, you're always going to have eyes on you.
Yep.
And they almost know once one moves, now they're alert when they come back up. So you definitely want to pin into the smaller groups. That was an issue that I had actually on Sunday was there weren't small groups like we've seen in the past because of everything being so froze and closed in, that they were all kind of like amalgamated into an area and a little community where one notices and may not even notice it, but they all move as a pack away just because a few start to stray away and everything just kind of follows. And they may not even be aware, but in small groups, you do tend to get a little bit more leeway, I find anyway.
Yeah, you get the one that takes off for seemingly no reason, and the other ones are just like, he must be leaving for a reason, and they all just peace out. And you're like, you've been laying there like nothing changed. You're like, what happened?
And then you get up, you walk away, and as you're walking away, you see that exact same group just come back. Mm-hmm. And you're like, fuck.
I think I'm actually the king of moving at exactly the wrong time. Where
I'm up there. I'll give you a good run for your money. I'll tell you.
All right, next time we'll get a competition going. Who's the worst?
You just basically kind of like explained a reel that we potentially could do.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good fun. That's a fun.
Maybe I am good at reels. I just don't think that I am.
You are good at reels.
But yeah, like I'll get up right before, like I'll notice a flock of something flying in around a point that I wasn't looking at, or I'll like take a bunch of shots of something sitting there, and then I'll try to check and make sure like maybe I can maybe see what the ISO has been doing, or it's just, I don't know. And I'll look up and the bird's in a different position, or like it's preening now, and I'll go put my camera up again, and now it's just like sitting there again, like the pictures I took. But if I would have just held it there, like I could have got something cool. King. Like I'm king of that. I'm king of missing opportunities, basically, is what I'm saying.
There's a lot of opportunities missed to remember every time you go out. There's so many opportunities missed, and that's wildlife. I mean, it's also why people are drawn more to the for sure thing.
The what thing?
The for sure, like the
For
guaranteed.
Sure. I said Forester.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Well,
Yeah, you're right.
maybe. If you're a Subaru fan, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that like most of it, I think Mike touched on this last week. Most of wildlife photography is aimlessly walking around and hoping things happen. And a lot of the times things are being flushed. Things are being not so much by you, or it could be anything, but you're moving into areas like ducks, for example, that you're like, okay, I think I can be quiet and be silent and get in here. You can't.
You can't.
They heard you turn off your car and close your car door well before you even thought to take a photo of them.
You haven't even clicked
That's
your
the way
lens
I
on
feel.
yet.
Yeah. And I still go for them, and I still enjoy it. And I would say, like, I don't know how many species we have in Ontario on an average winter. I'm not even going to begin to guess, but I might have 5 species that I have worthy shots of. That's very, very small in my opinion.
Yeah. There's this is a dumb statement maybe, but there's a woman at work who loves cardinals, and she's like, if you ever get like, well, she's like, do you have any really good shots of cardinals? Like I'll pay you for them, or like I like cardinals a lot. And I was like, no, actually I don't. Like I have some shots, but like I've told you before, there's a picture of a cardinal at my dentist's office that's on the wall, and it's like the worst picture of a cardinal. There's like sticks in the way, and it's just like messy. And I was like, I know I can do better than that, but also I don't have an example that's better than that.
The best time to go out and shoot cardinals is when it's crazy urethral snow.
Urethral snow.
Yeah. When it's crazy ethereal snow, and like it's just like whipping and windy. Like as soon as it starts snowing, they're like, "Hey, let's go!" Like you'll see them all the time, especially if you have a feeder or a neighbor has a feeder. That's when you see them out there. They wait for it to be like crazy snowing and snow globish, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
That's always when I see them. You won't see them on like a bluebird day, maybe earlier in the morning or very, very late at night. But if you want that, that's why you see the shots of like the ethereal kind of snow kind of
Snow bokeh
backdrop. The snow bokeh is because that's when they come out. It's almost clockwork for them, I find.
Yeah. And like I don't dislike them or anything, but usually I'll see one in a good spot and I'll go like wander up to it and it'll frig off. So I'm like, do I have to get on the ground and like army crawl over to a freaking cardinal? Because like it seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'll like weigh the option about like, is it worth getting messy or cold or getting a placebo wedgie for this cardinal? Like no. But if it was like a barred owl or a long-eared owl, like for sure. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I should treat all birds like a target bird, or like a one that makes me excited, and maybe I'll start getting better pictures of the common stuff. Because I think it's admirable to get excellent shots of common stuff.
I was just gonna touch on that. Like there are pro photographers and top quality photographers that take photos of chickadees.
Mm-hmm.
And nuthatches, and like it's just they're just as worthy. I think that's kind of the birder in you too, and in me, that kind of wants to see more and new and add to the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it could be just as simple as taking some of the common species. Like, do you have a really good starling photo?
I have a starling.
They're gorgeous birds. I don't care if anybody thinks they're
really
terrible birds.
Mm-hmm.
But like one, right?
One. And it's not a good photo. I just like it.
How many opportunities do you have? Tons.
But like I'll say I probably don't recognize that it is an opportunity. You know what I mean? Because it's a
Because they're
starling.
very pretty birds in the right light.
Oh man, same with grackles.
Yeah, that gasoline kind of iridescent type.
That's a good way
Yeah.
of putting it. They very gasoline look to them.
I always call it gasoline look. Yeah, I just do. Gasoline in a puddle of water.
Yeah. The starlings, it's in the wintertime they get the freckles, I think, right?
Yeah.
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 I like them in the
Actually,
spring.
Kyle just posted a photo or showed me a photo, Swanson, of I think he got one in Algonquin, or maybe when he drove 9 hours up north to go see some dumb finch. No, I'm kidding. It's not a dumb finch. It's no, I'm kidding. But no, we were talking about it in the WhatsApp chat, and it was like he was almost making fun of himself because he's like, I went 9 hours round trip for a finch. Am I nuts? And we were just kind of jumping on, going, yeah, like Mike's just like, you're an idiot.
Well, the thing is, like, he was
for
just,
some dumb finch that's just pink a little bit, like, I don't know.
Yeah, the rosy finch.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think you are. I think it's admirable. Go ahead. You have the time. Do it.
There was a freaking on the local bird Facebook group for the area. One of the mods actually had a some kind of sparrow that's not Harris. A sparrow that's normally out west that's like super common.
Oh, not a Nelson's.
I don't think so. I can't remember. Has like a
LeConte?
black head. I can't think of what it's called. But it was wintering at his house. So he had a bird feeder and it was there. And like he would invite people to come over and shoot this one sparrow. And people came from freaking everywhere. There was, I think, a newspaper article about this sparrow. And I was like, it's a sparrow.
I've said this in the chat many times, and now I'm going to say it to everybody else in here. If some rare shows up at my house, you're not seeing it and you're not knowing about it.
Yep.
I'm also the type of guy that I don't go and see these birds that show up at other people's feeders. Even though those people are gracious and outstanding and better people than I am, but none of you are knowing about the Anna's hummingbird that shows up at my house. Like, not because I'm the only, even though even though a lot of the times I'd like to have my own specific photos and not have to like share that photo experience with others. Not the experience with the individual, but the photo experience afterwards.
Yeah.
Kind of takes the shine off it a little bit. That's not even the reason. I just don't want any of you at my house. I don't want any of you showing up at my house. I don't want a bombardment of 1,000 messages. I don't want the newspaper showing up at my house. It's a bird. It's a bird, and like it'd be cool if it showed up at my house, but that's about as far as it's going.
There was that one. There was a couple. I don't know if it was last winter or the winter before. Like a cool woodpecker showed up. I think on Manitoulin.
An ivory bill?
No, but that would possibly be the coolest woodpecker that could show up. I don't want to say. I don't think it was an acorn woodpecker. It was something with yellow. There was a little yellow on it.
A blackback.
Was it maybe
three-toed blackback?
Maybe. I'm stupid at remembering things, but
I think it's I think the one with it's a little yellow, like not triangle, but yeah. I think it's a black-backed woodpecker.
Okay.
I got one in Algonquin.
Okay, well, there was one in on Manitoulin that I think, like, again, there was newspaper articles about it. People were showing up. They actually, I think it was at, I don't know if it was at like a person's house or like a station of some sort or like a lodge, but they had like cordoned off, like, don't come any closer to the bird type of like snow fences and barriers. And when you get to that point, that's when I start feeling like this is a problem. Like, leave the freaking thing alone. But I will say there's one bird that came a couple years ago that I do regret not going to see, just because I'm kind of a raptor guy. We had a long-tailed kite, or no, scissor-tailed kite.
Yeah.
Come up towards London. Mm-hmm. And I didn't make the effort to go see it. I kind of regret it now because it's a cool bird, but also I don't regret it because like I didn't feed into the pandemonium of like 20,000 freaking tripods lining on a country road pointing into a cornfield type of scenario. But I don't know.
Do you find though if 20,000 people have seen it, then it's an obvious sighting, and you don't make the 2 or 3 hour trek, for me, say, can I put that fucking thing on my list? It was in Ontario.
That's kind of the way I rationalized it at the time, and I still kind of do. Where I'm like,
I'm not a lister. I'm not a lister, so like I'm just joking, but it's just an
thought
interesting like it's there. Like it's been in Ontario. If I have to see it with my own eyes, I know that's the game. That's the hobby. But I just like, there was one. Check.
Yeah.
For me it's the photo. I'd want the photo of it.
There's at the back of the Peterson field guide, there's a checklist, and I kind of thought it would be fun to kind of start checking things off, but I didn't at all start. Because I don't think, for me, it's the right way of doing it. Because it's not necessarily the bird as a unit that's the most interesting. Often it's the experience behind it. So like I said, like Jenny finding that barred owl, like that's so sick. Like it was random. She didn't even attempt to, like, that wasn't the point of the video she was making. It's that's the experiences that when they happen, it really makes me happy. Driving to a known location and seeing a thing with 400 other people isn't this experience I want.
Right. Unless you're seeing Barb and Ken and Dave and the same people that you see each and every time a rarity shows up, and it's kind of like this little like reunion each time. Oh, you made it! You and Barb made it. That's wonderful.
I love that.
Let's
you
go
used
to
all, like, retired
the halibut
names.
Yeah, they are. I've checked out like who's leading the lists, and it's like Kenneth, Linda,
Barb was
Aubrey.
a good one.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm just having fun with this. But yeah, like
you're right. The people who drive around, the people who are retired, that it's excellent that they're able to do this daily. Yeah, but they'll go to like, today I'm in somewhere, and then tomorrow I'm 6 hours the other direction. Yeah, and then like, oh, I'm going on a trip to somewhere, and they get all the cool shots, and it's excellent for them. And I hope at some point in my life I'm able to be that person. But right now I'm just like, whoa, like, just pump the brakes.
See, you're turning into me a little bit. You hope later in life you might be that person. You're starting to set goals into little channels and just go, hey, it's not right now, but it might be later.
But then
I like that.
Maybe I'm learning, which is, I think, in improving and getting
I hope
better.
Everyone is.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy my retirement. And sometimes, this is getting introspective. If I waste birds now, will birds be interesting when I'm retired? Is the thought that I've had, sort of.
Is a white crowned sparrow as interesting as it was the first 1 or 2 times you've seen one?
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, if it's no, then there's kind of your answer. Like, save some.
White crowns are cool. White-throated are becoming mundane, but also they're still kind of cool.
Do you not have a lot of white crowns out your way?
I don't see them as often as other sparrows.
Okay, because I see quite a few of them certain times of the year. Certainly in the fall when they stack up, stuff like that. But I do see quite a few of them. Yeah, I
keep a list of birds I've seen on my property too, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
every time I got a new one recently. Oh, I got it's kind of an interesting story. So it's not interesting at all. I have a bird feeder that I made. That
there's gonna be a comment, Kyle. None of your stories have been interesting.
They're all the worst. I made a bird feeder that I got the idea. I think I've talked about it off a YouTube video, where essentially it's a bunch of circles that are silicone together in kind of a grid, so that a squirrel can't get inside. And inside there's a tray of seed, and it works excellently for squirrels unless they're babies. They can still get in, but then they eat enough, they get fat, they can't fit in anymore, and
they can't get out. Oh, I thought
they can't get out. I haven't had to free anything from within it yet, but The downside is that birds like mourning doves and blue jays can't eat really from it. What I find usually happens is the frickin' juncos will stand in the little tray and just kick their little feet around, and then just like seed will fling everywhere, and then some of it goes in the ground, and then other birds and stuff can eat on the ground. That's fine.
Yeah. Right.
But recently I was like, I want to put suet somewhere because I like, there's nuthatches, there's downy woodpeckers, obviously friggin' everywhere. And I love nuthatches. Nuthatches are one of my favorite, I think, common birds. My wife and I are actually thinking of getting matching nuthatch tattoos, but my idea is one of us will get the red-breasted and one of us get the white-breasted.
Just going to ask, which one is the more preferred, or does it matter?
For me, white-breasted.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
I love a red-breasted.
Is it because they're a little more rotund?
Maybe. I think their face is more, I think because there's less like eye line and stuff, they're just more like expressive. Yeah. And like, I'll never pass up the opportunity to get that one shot of a nuthatch when they're upside down with their head straight out. Yeah. Freaking love that shot.
Yeah. Like a Nike swoosh.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, I want to put suet outside. So, but the squirrels, everywhere around my house and my yard is accessible by trees. So it's very difficult to find a spot where squirrels can't just demolish whatever I put out there. So I was like, I think I have some space in the roof of my bird feeder because it's kind of a house shape, like a peaked roof with a grid of circles that birds go in through to get to the food.
It's like a tray feeder inside, right?
Yeah, it's actually like a baking tray with some holes, which I have dowels in it so it doesn't shift around, because the squirrels can actually reach in and grab the edge of the tray and they shake it.
They'll shake it, yeah.
They'll try to lift it up, but I have dowels in there that it sits on so they can't move it.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I think I have enough room in the roof to mount a suet cage. So I did that. And I've seen the nuthatches up there, and I've seen some downy woodpeckers go in there. But never before the other week, I saw a hairy woodpecker. And the thing was too big to either get in the holes, or at least it didn't try. But it was looking through at the suet, and it was like, I want that. And it was like going around and like trying to come up from underneath and like trying to come up from the top. And it just kept like moving around on the feeder. So it's on a post in my yard, and I screwed in some branches that kind of go out to the side so that birds can sit on the branches and then just hop into the feeder. And chickadees like to peck. That's not a
photography trick?
No, I haven't taken any pictures of it.
Okay. Because that's unique to kind of add a perch around it, get them posed. Okay. I thought it might be for the photography.
I thought
of the birds.
I thought about, but the perches that I put kind of around it were too close, kind of. So some of for example, if a mourning dove sits on it, they sit straight up because they can't like lean forward like you normally see them because it's too close to the wall. If I make a V2, I know changes that I would make to make it a little bit more better, and I might do that at some point. But the perches I put there just for the birds to sit on. But this poor hairy woodpecker was just like, I want this food, but I can't get it. And then I felt bad. So I was like, I need to figure that out. So on my mind is trying to come up with a bird feeder that can feed the larger birds too, but also can't feed the squirrels. And I know that's a tale as old as time, but freaking squirrels.
Yeah. It's funny. You brought up something there. You said version 2.
Mm-hmm.
Version 2 is usually better than version 1.
Should be.
Sometimes substantially.
Yeah.
Other times slightly. And I've actually been thinking this a little bit, bringing it back to the photo side of things, about version 1 of something. Let's say someone shares something and version 1 is something different. It's not version 1 of a portrait of a bird.
Okay.
Because that's not version 1. That's remake of what everybody else does. So just going out on you know what I mean? You kind of know what I'm saying? Going out on a limb where something that's new, unique, never been tried, but maybe never been tried from you or not seen very often. I find that version 1, almost people jump on board and say like fantastic, outstanding, because it's different.
Are we talking about Mike's hummingbird again?
No, we're not talking about Mike's hummingbird. There's kind of a resurgence of well, wide angle's always been there.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems like you get a lot of certainly the chambers, the echo chambers, or the clicks that I at least follow or know. As soon as something's wide, as soon as they know you've shot something at a millimeter wider than 85, they jump on board, and it's like fantastic. Like, holy shit, you've broken the mold, and that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I find a lot of the time that version 1 is just being in the comments lightened and enlightened a little more than it should, because like version 1 maybe definitely didn't need to be seen, and version 2, if you just held on to it a little longer, and this kind of goes with what Mike kind of talks about, if version 2 just if you showed version 2 or version 3, I think there'd be a lot more meaning to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You kind of know what I mean?
I feel like we're close to stepping on or contradicting ourselves, because I believe a couple podcasts ago we talked about how just because something's different doesn't mean it's automatically better.
Like, yeah, 100%.
So
yeah,
but that's the interesting subjective thing about photography. If you're like, so this is unique and different, I'm not sure about it. You put it out there and it just gets like so much kudos, and you're like, okay, could be something. But then you're like, I like to know what about it they like. So I try to analyze that. And you're like, is it the lens? Is it the millimeter? Is it the angle of them shooting? Is it the setting? What is it? And I don't know if that's the stuff that's quantifiable. So it's hard to, I don't know, maybe start trends just to be like, unless you're trying, I guess, trying to do different.
Yeah, I think I'm speaking more or less about the photo itself, and I'm thinking more about the comment sections.
Okay.
That's more the angle that I'm kind of a little more curious about, basing that off of not trying to contradict ourselves about saying because it's different doesn't automatically make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the comment sections sort of dictate. You'll see gorgeous in something that has been done before, even especially by that photographer. Lord knows I do that all the time. Mike pointed that out last podcast. Absolutely not wrong. I'm going to do it again and again. We've gone through this.
Yeah.
That, you get your typical gorgeous, nice, beautiful light.
Nice capture.
And then nice capture. That's typical. And I don't think there's anything, I'm going to contradict myself because I can't, it's almost like film and digital. You just take the shots because it doesn't cost you anything in digital.
Yep.
You just post the photo because it doesn't cost you anything. But I find that something that might be version 1 and version 2 could be that much better if you spent time on it, gets the recognition and the comments that version 2 or version 3 should, because it's different. Amazing. This is one of the best photos that I have seen this year. Well, luckily there's only 2 weeks in, so thank fuck I don't have to lose my shit.
Sure.
But but that's, I guess, kind of what is chapping my ass a little bit the most and seeing the same names. I'm seeing the same names. It's almost like engagement baiting too.
As commenting excellent or nice
echo
or whatever.
Or echo. No, more like it's more of an echo chamber of, if you're a wide angle type of guy, if you see somebody that's posted something that's wide angle, you're echo chambering it like, dude, you banger, you absolutely nailed it. And you can be all for community and stuff like that, but there's this kind of this resurgent of, if you're not using your typical 500s, 600s, 400s, 300s, if you're doing something different, that's getting like the, oh my God, dude, banger. And it's only that small click that really even is recognizing or bringing to that level, because there's nothing else. There's nobody else getting brought into it from other aspects of photography that are jumping on. It's not getting any other recognition.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as it goes.
There's a lot of talk about how people's attention spans are getting shorter because we're doing like shorter videos and scrolling. It's just like flinging past, just getting so many things. So maybe the reason that people are gravitating or trying to do different is just because there is so much, and like people are getting bored at looking at the old.
Do you think there's an excitement as a viewer to seeing something different because everything is very much the same a lot of the times too?
I think there are trends that I don't like to look at because I think it's boring, like bird on a stick, just like crushed background, in focus branch with bird on it. Excellent for like a bird book to know what you're looking at, but like
documentative,
yeah. But I don't. I like to put a little, and I'm not always perfect at this, and I can obviously improve, but put a little movement or action or behavior or something in it, a reflection.
You actually mentioned that when I showed you my long-tailed. You said, "Nice photo, not really doing anything interesting."
Well, it's funny,
right?
When you're
not wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when you were. I said it's two ducks standing on some ice, and you were like,
right.
It's not two ducks, it's two long-tailed ducks. How often
do you see long-taileds out of the water? And the answer's like never.
Well, I think I said something along the line. I'm like, actually, you know what? You're right. I don't see ducks or long-tailed ducks standing on the side of the ice. So that one was different because it wasn't an immediate thought that had like, oh, this is different. It was,
of course,
it was
a
two
layer
ducks.
to it.
Yeah,
nobody other than a birder might notice that.
Yeah, so maybe that's the interesting part is trying to find the thing that the niche would find interesting. I mean, it's not. I don't know.
Oh, something of the niche. Yeah, okay. I thought you were saying that's the interesting part and just kind of like pump it up a little bit. And you're on it. It's two ducks on ice, and you're right. That's about as far as it goes from a viewership level. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to be niche, I can see where there's a little more layers to it. Yeah.
Like, for example,
I'm not trying to be niche. I'll tell you that much.
Fair. Like if you get a loon on the land and maybe not even on a nest, like that would be something sort of more unique. Because like, how often you see that? They're in the water. They're flying and they're in the water.
They don't like land. I'm surprised if they could figure out how to nest in the water, they would.
Right.
Yeah.
Or for example, like, okay, here's something that maybe would be interesting for me. If I found an osprey eating something that was not a fish, that would be kind of unique. But if the casual person would be like, this predator is eating prey, but the birder would go, that's a rat or that's a squirrel or that's interesting. Right. I think now that I think about it, that long-tailed duck is on that sort of level, that long-tailed duck photo. Because and even me, like I've said before, like I feel like I'm a birder first and a photographer second. I didn't pick up on that, so like it's that niche. I'm like, that's pretty cool actually. That's kind of neat.
Right. Yeah, because when's the next time you might see that? And I can't take credit. Actually, someone actually commented and said, where do you see long-taileds on ice? And I had the idea because I'd never had a photo like that, but I really put it into perspective. I'm like, I've never seen a photo of long-taileds preening and sitting. I have video of it too. Like I'm trying to do more video, like I said I was going to try to do. I'm not a viewer. I'm not a photography viewer. I'm a photography a doer. So like I've been introspectively trying to figure out what's making me so frustrated when I am trying to view and I'm trying to do 2025 a little different, and I'm seeing these trends and these groups of people move around and kind of engagement bait is what I say it is. I don't know what it is. And I'm kind of like, that's what makes the community ick to me.
Yeah. You often bring
because I don't like the phoniness.
Yeah.
I'm a very straight shooter, so and I'm crusty and angry, and that's why it's called it is, and it's why we've talked about this before. So it's more of like an introspective question of like, what is it all about, and is it just me that's crusty, or should I just leave them alone? And I do leave them alone. These are usually private conversations I'd bring it up in, but for the pod, I figured at least kind of scratch the surface with it.
Yeah. I feel like you often have these type of thoughts, and I don't know where they come from because I'm not maybe paying attention to the same things that you are or aware of those things. I don't feel like I might do this kind of for the public because I don't know, like we're talking, we're having a good time, but we've decided to put this out in the world. So there's some aspect of like, I'm feeling like somebody might enjoy this. So maybe throw it out there. I guess I do the same thing with pictures, but I'm also mostly doing it for me where
agreed.
I'm like, I had a great day,
100%.
hardly seeing much, freezing my ass off.
Yep.
I could be at home doing nothing or doing some mundane shit. The photos are a bonus. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I don't often think like, okay, maybe I can get this type of shot, or maybe I'll throw this lens on and see what I can get. Usually the lens choice for me is based on how far the thing is away or what camera I'm using. And I'm not going like, maybe as much as I should be trying to do something different or unique or interesting. Cause I don't think usually how I function through things is I like to sort of nail down my confidence in the basic thing before moving on to something more different and maybe advanced. So I'm still not comfortable wandering out and getting a freaking dope ass bokeh shot of a cardinal. So I'm like, why am I going to bother trying to get something interesting like a loon on land or longtails on ice? If that happens, excellent. But it's hard for me to envision
That's
that before.
happenstance for you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But I think it's admirable to want to do that stuff as well. It's just not a mindset that I'm at yet or will ever get to. I'm not sure.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it's a lifetime craft, like lots of years, but potentially if everything goes well.
I've said that about a lot of hobbies and then I've left them behind me. But at the same time, I've been into birds since I was single digits and I'm 37 now. So
yeah. And you also have this other like artistic ability to express here, which keeps it engaging for you in a different way. It's not all viewing. It's not all doing and shooting. It's also talking about it and starting conversation. Yeah. Because like I said, the viewing to me, like it almost makes me angry to view. Because when I view, I'll read a caption, and this is why I don't like reading captions, because I'm like, this just sounds like fucking hogwash. Like this is just me. This is my Irish blood that's just frustrated.
Potatoes are running strong in you.
Yeah, I'm actually a very personable and happy person, but Bill Burr said this perfectly. He says, I don't sweat the big stuff. He goes, sweat the small stuff. Sweat you're burning your toast. Because he was talking about his house burning down. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I don't think it was his house specifically. Maybe it was. He was just recently on, and he goes, I don't care about that stuff. I get mad when like I'm out of fucking toothpaste. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel
worry about those little things.
That's so good.
The toothpaste being out is somebody commenting on a photo amazing that I don't agree that's amazing. That's just my burnt toast. That's
one of those stuff that I usually lose sleep over when Canada Post says it's going to be delivered today, but then it gets delayed. Exactly. I'm not sleeping that night. Like, it doesn't matter what's in that package. I'm just like, what the happened? Like,
but my car didn't start a week ago, and I needed to get a battery and I needed to get a boost, and I still needed to go to work, and I just did it, and it didn't bother me at all. But most of the time that would bug people's day. Like ruin the whole day and bug them all day. But that's not the thing that really bothered me. I went on Instagram and I saw someone's caption and went like, you went to Downsview, you dumbass. Like this is all ridiculous. You didn't wander around I gotta stop like using that language.
Yeah, last time you were on this.
Like
with Mike.
You didn't wander around and randomly find this thing. Like you said, you want to find an owl that you find on your own, not something that you know where they're spotted. And that's what a lot of these conversations or these captions assume.
Okay. I have a question
and that bugs me. But it shouldn't. It does.
Yeah.
It shouldn't.
I have a question for you. And I want you to answer it honestly. And I promise you will not offend me either way. I'm a
straight shooter, you know that.
Yeah, I know. But I just wanted to put it out there. When you see the captions that I put on, what what are your emotions when you read a dumb shit caption from me?
Like a Facebook one?
I think
maybe
sure.
maybe they post the same one.
Yeah.
Because
it's
I don't
never.
know, if you asked me before I did the podcast with you and we've had these many hours now talking back and forth.
Sure.
I know that's now your character.
Sure.
But before I'd be like, this corny bastard. Like, I don't know. So it's a vastly different outlook and reasoning on why I think it fits you very well.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a safe answer, but it is the answer.
Yeah, no.
You know?
And like, I often will struggle with the caption because I'm not the person to put facts about birds in there. I'm not the person that's just going to post
can be corny too.
A different type of corn.
Yeah.
I have a funny corn story to maybe end this.
Okay.
It's not about birds at all. I don't want to put like the most analytical, like this bird, this date, these settings, 4 hashtags, bam. Like I want some of me to be in it. So like I posted a picture of a long-tailed duck flying past from Tom Thompson. I was like, permission to buzz the tower, because it looked like kind of a Top Gun kind of move. And I was like just some dumb shit like that. Like I don't know what to put
crackling. You had like crackling.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And like they're dumb and I get it. I used to do puns, but then like I started finding myself Googling bird puns and I was like, if I can't do the pun, like I shouldn't, it's not me anymore. It's whatever this website is. So I'm trying to make them from me because like as much like same with on this podcast, like we might get people who don't like birds at all. They'll listen to this because they've found something in me or you or the chemistry or something.
Or us together. Yeah.
That they gravitate towards. And like that, all I have is me.
We almost want that more.
Yeah.
Because we're totally not qualified for the other stuff.
No, not at all. So
yeah. No, for sure. I get it. But also the more you do it, the more authentic it feels and the more it becomes you.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that started tying his shoes with the bunny ear loop first might have, like the first guy, not you, the first person.
I do it to this day and I'm not doing a bit. I'm dead serious. 2 loops, cross them over, bam.
But it's simple. It is that simple.
It works.
Which is crazy because you will tinker. Let's not get on a tangent. You'll tinker with that goddamn camera until but you'll just do the bunny loops. It's funny how people tick.
I probably, and I swear to God, this isn't a bit. I probably don't know how to tie my shoes like an adult. Like that wrap around baloney that, like, I have no idea.
You're probably 50% of adults. Like, it's pretty common.
I slip my shoes on. I tie them up.
But my point is,
yeah, sorry.
But my point is, like, the first guy that did that, if it was a different way, someone's gonna look at him and go, the hell are you doing? Mm-hmm. But the more and more you do it, and maybe the more and more people catch on and stuff like that, the more it just becomes you and your thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I've accepted with that type of stuff. Whereas like on the internet, somebody I don't know and I haven't got to know as well as you have and had the conversations that we've had, I'm only judging them on such a superficial level.
Yeah.
That I'm just kind of like, maybe this guy is genuine, or maybe like I don't know the motive. I think the non-understanding of the motive is also something, because to me, like, you're always innocent until proven, or you're always guilty until proven innocent. Like, I'll put you in that category right off the bat. You're guilty until proven innocent in my eyes. Even small things.
I think that's part of the reason why I try to be a doofus with the captions, because I was like, ultimately, I am a doofus. Mm-hmm. If anybody met me, I'll goof around with the best of them. I'll swear like a trucker. I'll freaking, I don't know, just have a good time. And I want to show that, like, I'm not an analytical minded person, really. I want to have fun, especially in something that is fun, like bird photography or any other hobby, like or this, right?
Yep. You can tell, but just by like when we get into technical stuff and we botch some things, like that's the stuff we want to kind of touch on, but most of it is more of the banter back and forth and
absolutely,
and us being us. Yeah.
We're being us.
Which is the best part. That's right.
So, corn.
There, I was gonna say, yeah, I wanted to say you have that story, but I figured you'd remember.
So
corn.
So, one of the things I'll start with this. I don't know. So, growing up, I always thought there was going to be this point in life where I was an adult, and all of a sudden I would start thinking and acting and doing and being an adult. But what I've learned is no one knows what the fuck's going on. Everyone's trying their best, and shit's fucked everywhere. So, at work, there's a sign on behind the toilet that says, "Please flush the toilet. Don't leave anything behind." The management kind of thing. And I was like, the fact that that's at a workplace with adults is ridiculous to me. Like, it's insane that someone has to say that. Like, I don't want to leave stuff behind for the next person. Like, that seems crazy, right? So I did a business, and I flushed, and everything was going away. But you know, when it fills back up, there's kind of like a suck that happens. Mm-hmm. Literally one piece of corn came back up. And it was the funniest thing in the world to me, because it was like the most like cliche poop thing. Like, when you think poop, corn is like a really easy tangent from there.
That was a shot in a movie. I don't know what movie it is, but it's in a movie somewhere.
Right. But I was like, I'm going to leave that there for humor.
Oh, no.
So I left the one piece of corn. I didn't reflush. I completely ignored the sign. And I was like, I understand why the sign needs to be there.
Yeah. Now, it's funny that you brought up the sign, because we have a sign too, and I put it up there.
Oh, did you?
And it's the Dosakis, man.
Oh, okay. Doing like
and it says, I don't always pee on the seat, but when I do, I wipe it up. It's perfect. It's the perfect sign.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's dribble left over, and I'm just like, can't be doing this. Like,
be a decent human.
If you're not going to listen to the guy that's angry all day, listen to the Dosakis guy.
I mean, if you're going to live, it'd be him or a freaking dude from Parks and Rec, whatever his name is, with the manly guy who eats meat. I can't think of his name. I'm sorry for all the Parks and Rec fans. The mustached guy who's the manly man.
Ron
Swanson.
Guy?
Thank you. Yes, Ron Swanson.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
He would be another good person to be like.
Oh, yeah. He'd say something like kind of like aggressive, passive aggressively.
It would, it would be like passive aggressive and very direct and like, but there would be like references to smoked meat and like mahogany in there too. You know what I mean?
Very manly
pipe
stuff.
Smoke. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Barbecue.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny that you guys have a sign too. I'm sure many people, if you have a sign in your washroom at work, drop a comment.
Yeah. What's your sign in the bathroom at work?
Yeah. What's the sign?
I'll
post it and tag it in the Angry Bird Pod, and we will share it.
Absolutely. 100%.
We'll share it.
For sure. Matt, we've been chatting a while. It's been a great time.
Yeah, it's just been we didn't catch up at TTP, so we figured we'd catch up after.
Correct. And we've done that.
I like it. Yeah.
Now that we've had a guest, and I don't know whose turn it is to start the music. My turn to start the music.
I believe it is your turn.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start the music right. Meow.
Bangers. You know what? This is my favorite part of listening back to make sure everything is all right.
Yeah, it's fun.
They go hard. Love them. Okay.
Right. Love you, Matt.
Love you more, Kyle.
More? Wow. I gotta work on
more than the song. More than the song.
Okay, fair. All right. Have a good one, guys.
Until next time, guys. See ya.
Kyle and Matt dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week. This one never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Peep the live broadcast, podcast goldmine, twisting in the air, birds of every kind. Critics gonna chirp, but they ain't ever dying. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. Oh, they click in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Show, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. On the twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. never in the past. Eagles, hawks, and kestrels flying so divine. Keep the live broadcast, podcast gold line. Twisting in the air, birds of that so fine. Brain mat, dropping wings on blast. Tuning in next week, this pod never in the past. In the past. Tuning in next week, this pod never in the past. In the past. Zooming in on sparrows, robins in the mist. Matt's got the shutter, Kyle's got the twist. Feathered friends in flight, equipped with the strut. Angry Bird Pod Show, capturing the cut. From dawn to twilight, watch the colors flash. Birds of every shade in a photogenic dash. No need for fame, just the birds flying free. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Oh, they clicked in the snap, see the birds on the map. Angry Bird Pod Flow, flipping through the recap. Kyle and Matt, dropping wings on blast. Tune in next week, this one never in the past. From the past. Not shortcut. Not shortcut. Angry Bird Pod Show, bringing all the glee. Bringing all the glee.